I always start with lip liner. Lip liner is really useful when doing a very dark lip. You don't need it for nude, because nude lips are quite forgiving, to be honest. Like, if you make a mistake, then it's just, I mean, it doesn't show up all that much. But when you do a dark lip, it definitely shows up quite a lot. So I start out with the lip liner. The reason I start out with the lip liner, it's very easy to wipe away and erase a mistake without it actually just completely changing the color of the skin. Whereas with lipstick, as soon as you like try to wipe it away, then it just starts smudging all over the place and it changes the color of your foundation. It's very difficult to correct. Aw, Pete, thank you. I think that color suits you though. That's really fun. So the way to start out a lip liner, to be able to be like, yes, okay, this is gonna be a symmetrical. Symmetry on the lips is the thing that I really like working with, because it's like, I get very perfectionist when I work on the lips. So it's always to start out with a cupid's bow. What we're taught in makeup school is to round out the cupid's bow. I don't like to round it out too much. I actually quite like it when it's like quite defined the way yours is. But again, like the ideal face shape, as you can see, the ideal like make everything linked to makeup or face shape or anatomy is like, yeah, just round it out. Like when it's feminine, like the oval face shape is the best face shape because it's like it's rounded.
It's soft.
Yeah. So it's the same thing with the lips. They tend to be like, oh yeah, you need to round out like this as much as possible. I round it out like a little tiny bit, but not too much. The one thing that a lot of people Mel likes angles, exactly. The thing that I do when I do lips is, so as you can see, the edge of the lip is right here. Mel's lips, mine do the same thing. You can see it, especially on this side. The shape actually goes down with a curve like that. When you look down here, like here, the pigmentation stops, and it actually goes down like this. Okay?
Like it's doing that.
My lips do the same.
Like, yeah, like an extreme example is like this side here does this.
Yeah. And so what I do is I pull up a little bit. So if I were to pencil it in, I'm going to pull that up so that it actually seems fuller. Like that. So we're going to start out with the cupid's bow because that's the way you realize, like, that's how you make sure that your lips are symmetrical, is you start out with a cupid's bow. So I'm using a pencil that is fairly similar to what we'll be doing, the lipstick color.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to round that out just a tiny bit, not too much. Like, this is ASMR for me. I just get really, really concentrated and being like, oh, I love this so much. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. So be sure to, oh wait, let me just fix that. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the bottom. Make sure that it's centered. Okay, and then when we go from the outside to the when we're actually gonna draw this, we're not gonna draw this from starting here to here. We're gonna start from the outside and move in a little bit to create like a curve, like a. You have a thin top lip. Do you have any tips? Overlining never looks great when I try it. So this is like this is overlining without actually overlining. For me, I find when you have a cupid's bow, so you have the same thing as me where you have that dip right above your cupid's bow. So if you overline in that area,
it's so obvious.
It's so obvious because the light reflects the volume of your lips, and people are just be like, your lips end here, why did you go above it?
I can see it.
I can see it. The people who can overline are usually the people whose cupid's bow is actually very flat. Therefore, like, the light can't reflect off anything, and it's the illusion like stays the same when you overline it. This is a different kind of overlining where I'm gonna be filling in just a tiny triangle here, and it's gonna make the top lip look a little bit fuller.
It's like overlining. There's like different ways to do the overlining, not just necessarily just redraw the top lip, which I learned from you last week, which was really quite astounding to me, because just by adding in an extra little part on the sides of the top lip, it just showed that it made this top lip balance a lot more with my bottom lip, because my bottom lip is a lot more full than the top.
Which is the problem I have as well,
Yeah, so the fact that it gets extended just on these outer edges was like instant lip filler. I was like, just let me.
The other tip I have, like, for a very thin top lip, so there's overlining and then just like slightly overlining. People when they overline, so if you were to look at, let me take like a really thin brush. Here's the lip line, okay? When people overline, they tend to go like above the lip line. They'll go over here. You can try overlining by going on the lip line. So when I say on the lip line, it's like a difference of like
half a mil.
Like, yeah, half a millimeter, like a fourth of a millimeter. It's really, really small, but it can make a big difference when your top lip is really, really thin. You can be like, okay, well, instead of going beneath the lip line, I'll just go right above it, and I'll just be like, okay, I'll just like add just like a little tiny bit more pigment. Just go up a little bit, and that can help as well without making it seem overlined, because you're not outside of the lip line yet. You're just on it. It's very difficult to explain, and it's very difficult to see as well when you're like first learning. So I'm gonna start in the outside corner, so it's right there, and then I'm gonna move up. So if I move up like that, I haven't overlined, like, her Cupid's bow is on her lip line. Her Cupid's bow is on her lip line, and it stays on her lip line basically up until here. So it doesn't seem as overlined, because usually when our lips get to this portion, our face is much flatter. There's not like, the Cupid's bow isn't there anymore, so it's much flatter, and therefore it's less visible. And you can see the difference between this side. Wow, you can really see it.
It's really obvious.
I was just like, well, okay, I didn't expect it to be that obvious. But you can definitely see the difference between this side and this side. It doesn't mean that her lips, like, if you were to actually look, your lips actually go and have that shape. It's just the pigmentation isn't there. So you're just filling in a place where that could be pigmented, but that isn't. Another thing that I had, a friend from makeup school, she had the opposite problem. So in her bottom lip, like especially here, the pigmentation would go actually lower. But if you were to follow that lip line, it would make the bottom lip look very, very heavy. So you had to look at it and be like, okay, yeah, but her lips would normally end here. It's just that the pigmentation just went overboard and just kept going for some reason. So you would have to just put foundation in that area and draw the lips like the way you, like when you would look at her and be like, okay, what would she look like with lipstick? So you wouldn't imagine her with like the lipstick going like all the way like here, like 3 millimeters down on the bottom lip, like further down.
I think like noticing the pigmentation is against the lip, against the actual shape of the lip is actually quite interesting, because I've always noticed on Ghost, even though he has like a normal, like a completely normal shaped mouth, there's like a couple of spots where there's no pigment on his lip. And I've always wondered, but now that you've pointed it out, it's just the fact that you just don't have pigment there. But like that doesn't mean that's not where your lip is, or like your lip is different. It's just the pigment doesn't necessarily completely align.
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of just. It's funny because when it comes to like the face, when we have redness or when we have like pigmentation, like spots or stuff like that, it doesn't shock us. But for some reason on the lips, it just makes us very confused, and we're just like, this is not normal.
What's wrong with you?
Exactly. So that's how we would line this lip, and so I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side.
You can't see, your head's in the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, then turn it. Yeah. So starting out from the outer edge and moving upwards. And like there, I'm right on the lip line. So if you were to look forward, there you go. There, your lips seem a lot fuller that way. But I haven't actually gone over the lip line in the area that would actually show, which is right at the Cupid's bow. So I'm going to make that a little bit more symmetrical. Because, okay, if you were to look forward, you can tell that this, okay, you maybe can't tell, I don't know. I'm never sure, like, what's is actually really visible, like, really obvious and what isn't. This side is look, if you were to raise your head just a little bit, is a bit more rounded, and this one is very, like, straight down. So I'm going to round off this side just a tiny little bit. Cruff lips. So what I mean, I'm rounding out the lips. That's the one thing I learned when doing lipstick. It is not even a half a millimeter. It's like a tenth of a millimeter. It's just slightly, just moving your pencil, just like a hairline. It's like the
tiniest.
Yeah, the tiniest amount, and it can make like a really big difference. Okay. When it comes to the bottom lip, so that's a mistake I think I did last time with you. Is I followed your lip line, and therefore you said, "Oh, it seems like there's more volume on it." So what I did there is I actually limited. If you were to go like this, yeah, I could keep going like just a bit lower if I wanted to, but it's best for me not to. Otherwise, her bottom lip is going to look a lot bigger than it should be, proportion-wise to the top lip.
And you just balance that out.
Yeah. A Nikki Tutorials vid, and she was like, she said she likes to conceal it. Oh yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, well, the thing is, Nikki Tutorials has like, I've seen the natural color of her lips, and it looks like she's wearing lipstick. Like, it's like pink.
Oh, they're very pigmented.
They're very, very pigmented. So yes, they do. Lip color does change the color of the product. I never noticed this as much as when Lisa Eldridge came out with lipsticks, and suddenly she was sharing everyone's lip swatch in her stories, and like the same lipstick that was supposed to be like a corally would look more pink on some people and more orangey on others, and it's just dependent on the natural lip color. So yes, it can change the color of the product. This is more for like classic lipsticks. When you do use liquid lipsticks, it's just, I mean,
yeah, it's like a solid.
Yeah, it's like solid pigment.
As an example, when I use a liquid lipstick that's white, it's like I'm painting on white.
Yeah.
Because it's just.
Oh yeah.
That's why I like liquid lipstick.
You feel like the lipstick goes further out than the pigment on my lips, especially in the corners. But if I try and put less in the corners, it just looks like I haven't put.
Oh, okay. I think, you know how you can hide the corner.
You can hide the corner.
Well, I mean, so you know how I was saying last week that I like to put like sometimes just the tiniest bit of concealer.
Yeah.
On the edge there, because I like them to look more like.
Yeah.
Narrower and like fuller that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's more what she.
I think using a lip liner can be good. The lip liner I have now isn't good for that. It would be like a long-lasting lip liner. There's lip liners that like really just like dry down, like almost waterproof type lip liners, and those are really, really good. Especially so. If the lipstick goes further than the pigment on your lips, that means it's just like it's bleeding. I suppose that's a problem that you could have, especially in the corners of the lips. So having a lip liner that is exactly the same shade of your lipstick is really, really, like, I used to not like lip liner until I realized, like, oh, I can correct the lip shape with this. I can, like, for example, if the lipstick keeps on moving in the corners, I can just color this in.
Oh my goodness gracious. Nazamigas, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. Thank you. How are you? Thank you for bringing your community over. We're doing a makeup masterclass today. So I am so zoomed in. We're doing
it's like the makeup doesn't even make sense. Like,
yeah,
you're
nothing
like...
makes sense. We're doing some demos, etc. Thank you so much. How was your stream? Thank you. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I recommend that. Using a lip brush when you're using like a really strong color is, for me, it's like a must-have, especially if you want to make the corners really sharp. Every single time I use a lip brush automatically, because I cannot get like a very precise line, especially in those corners, without a lip brush. Like when you use the lipstick directly from the tube, like it's not usually, it can be pointed but not pointed enough to actually just like yeah, it's gonna be really sharp in that area. So, same thing with the bottom. I'm going to start from the outer edge and fill it in. Can you open your mouth just a little bit? I forgot to put lip balm on you. That's what I forgot to do before I this stream.
Okay.
Okay, and then I'm gonna use one of those like really little Q-tips that I had to just. Alright, I need to fix that side. I'm realizing now in the camera that so if you face me. So, oh yeah, perfect example of asymmetry. This side, very rounded, okay? That side looks like, almost like there's an angle right here, like it just started, like it's straight and then suddenly it starts going up. So if you want to have symmetry, you need to round out the other side. I feel like I can make your bottom lip even thinner if I were to bring it up a little tiny bit. There we go. So if your face, look at me. Can you open? Close. Okay, I'm gonna fill the lips in. There's always comes a point where you're just kind of like, oh, I don't know if this is symmetrical or not. What I was recommended, and ever since then I can't do it without it, is just filling it in. Because when it's a solid block of color, then you can be like, okay, what is off compared to the right and left? Because like, for example, this side, the line is thicker than the other side, or it's difficult to be like, oh yeah, this side needs a little bit more, or I need to take away a little bit. So filling it in can really help to have like a new way, just like we said before, resetting the brain so that it looks at it differently and it's like, okay, yeah, that's what's wrong. So you don't have to be perfect when you fill it in. Also, the reason I like filling it in is when your lipstick, as it slowly throughout the day, as it comes off, you don't end up with a just the outer lip line, which I know was like very stylish in like 2000 or something.
Yeah, for some reason.
Yeah, for some reason it was really stylish in 2000, but like people don't really like to have that nowadays. So it's really, I try to fill in just because when the lipstick gets like removed as you eat and everything, then you still have like some sort of staining from the lip liner. Can you open a little bit? If you close. Okay, we'll work with that, yeah.
I know, I'm lovely to see you.
So we're gonna take a lipstick that is pretty much the same color. Did I take the right one? Yes. So all my dark lipsticks, I always use a lip brush on them, and I try to wipe them
Putex,
down.
Millie, please. Putex says, oh damn, I want to play with makeup so bad right now. After I buy new brushes.
Buy new brushes first.
And clean them.
And clean them.
Clean.
So, this is I wish like I could, I think I told Furless, but I really wish I could just be up to them and be like, this is genius, please make it. This is like one of my favorite lip brushes that I have. So, people tend to use, okay, this is the lip brush that tends to be sold. Did I even take it? Okay. This is the lip brush that tends to be sold. Is it gonna focus? Is it gonna focus? Okay, yeah. The one that is this one right here, okay? The square one is the one that you'll usually find. It's pretty good. The thing is, what I like with the other one is that it comes to a point, which makes it more precise, and it also has like a curve, which can follow the curve of the lips. So I tend to prefer to use this one, or even if I didn't have this one, I would use, let's see if I have something that is very close to that, I would use something like this. Let me turn it right. A rounded brush. Simply because the square brush doesn't really make much sense. I thought you were just trying to get as many in as before lipstick. Before lipstick. Okay, so I'm using a lipstick. Oh my god, on your camera, I think we'll see it. Like the texture.
Yeah.
Can you see it?
Will. We should do.
Like I'm like, this is like my baby.
I know.
Can Will it focus? I don't know. I think it's just being like, please. Oh, it's focusing on my hand and being like, please, no.
Will it do it? Okay. Oh my god, you can. You can see. Can you see the texture on the edge, on the outside of that lipstick?
Yeah. That lipstick is just like...
It's almost got like a grid.
Yeah. It's like... It's supposed to mimic velvet.
Wow!
It's supposed to mimic velvet. I have no idea how she managed to do that. Like I looked at it from an engineering point of view, and I was just like, how?
Because it's so small. Like if you...
Yeah, it's really small. It's the tiniest thing ever. It
like
looks
the
like...
size of that against... Okay.
Well, it actually looks like fabric. Like the size of like
yeah.
the thread count in your
But the
sheets.
tiny amount compared to like, for instance, the size of a coin, all of that is the size of that. Like it's so small. It must have been done with like a pinhead.
No, it's been molded. They've created a mold for this.
Yeah, but the size of it is like a pinhead.
But I'm just like, I don't know how they've created that mold to be able to get that, like, because I used to do foundry in engineering school, and when I look at that, I'm just like, this is too precise. Like, how can you create a mold like this?
Pooja's is right. It looks like pixels.
It looks like pixels. Yeah, it does. But yeah, so.
Please don't touch it.
It's so pretty. I'm so sad because on this one I nicked it with like, I think with like just my finger, and it like ruined the illusion on one side, and I'm just like, no, doesn't look like...
You have to use it until it goes down.
Yeah, I need to like use it to that point. Okay. No more Cheetos?
No more Cheetos.
Okay. You can get some afterwards. Yeah. Okay, so I'm just gonna start putting the color down. So I probably should have put a little bit of lip balm because your lips are a bit dry from like talking and eating Cheetos and... So I'm gonna do the center of the lip first. How to disinfect lipsticks? Just wiping them down is already a really, really good step. This I wouldn't do it on this one, but taking the lipstick from the side, that is already like that's something that I'd. If I were to go like into a Sephora, Sephora doesn't exist here, but if I were to go into a Sephora and I had my lip brush, if I wanted to try lipstick out, I would like take it all out and start taking it from the side because everyone applies it from here, and I would know that the sides are like clean. Not on this one, of course, but like. And then you can of course spray it like at a distance with 70% alcohol. When it comes to precision with lips, it's just practice. Honestly, it's just like a lot of practice. Getting used to using your lip brush, especially on someone else, because it's a whole other thing to do your own lipstick and to do someone else's lipstick. And also, like, again, you don't want to be like taking the face and just being like, this is how I'm gonna stay stable. No, what I do is like you feel it on your chin, is I actually use my finger, and so her chin is like resting on this, and that's how I try to stay like stable. So it's a lot of practice to being able to be like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna start shaking. If you're really tired or anything, you're still gonna start shaking anyway, but I mean, that's a problem, unfortunately, you can't really solve. That has happened to me once. Like, really, when you're under stress and you're just like, oh my god, I can't do this.
Oh my god.
Like, one time I just had to do a red lip, and they were like, I thought I had 5 minutes, and then the girl was like, no, you need to be done now. Like, 10 seconds ago, you need to be done. And I was just like, I filled in, like, half of your lip, like, and so I was, like, shaking, rushing to try to do the other half, and under, like, I don't know, 10 seconds or something,
God,
just trying because
so
she had to go out on stage or something, and I was just, it was like really stressful. You can't really do much with that, unfortunately, but. And having that lip liner with the first guideline is really helpful to being like, placing it in the right spot, whereas if I were to go in directly with the lipstick, I would definitely mess up, and then it would be just hell to correct. Okay, if you turn towards me a little bit. feel like since I've done your lips before, I'm going like a lot faster
Yeah.
than the first time that I did them. Because now I'm just like, oh, okay, I know your lip shape now, so it's like,
I'm telling everyone you're my professional makeup
oh,
artist.
okay.
Like, you're my
because Mel is really that famous. Like,
that's what I wanted to say when we were in Urban Decay, and I was like, I was getting Elise to find my foundation
oh my god, you
shade.
should have.
And this woman was like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, fine. Because we just basically, Elise was like going through matching my skin. And she had like her, and then she just pulled out her own like brushes and stuff. And she's like,
Yeah, I took my own makeup.
And I was like, is it this one? She was like, no, not really feeling this one. And then he was like, are you sure you're okay? And we're like, no, we're fine. I really wanted to be like, sorry, no, this is my makeup artist. She's just figuring it out. We'll let you know. Because I kind of wanted her to leave us alone because it was like every few minutes and she was watching because we were the only customers
She was
there.
like waiting.
She was like, you're gonna buy something or not? And we were like, it's just not the right shade. Maybe really picking out what we were gonna go for. And then we were like, can I have a sample? And we didn't buy it.
We didn't buy it, yeah. Did you try it out though?
Yeah, it felt a little bit orangey, but I think that was because the lighting in the store was not very good.
So I feel that the shade line for makeup for Urban Decay was really, really bad.
Okay.
Like, I felt like it was very orangey, and that's why I was struggling for a while.
Yeah, I did feel.
It's because I was like, this seems so off. There is no like, because your skin tone is very difficult to match, the same as mine, because it's neutral. It has a lot of green in it, a lot of yellow, but also a lot of green. So it tends to be like considered to be like a neutral tone, but a lot of almost like olive tone, like there's a slight like a slight olive tone to it. And makeup brands just don't like making olive tone foundations. Like they don't like it at all. They don't do it. Green. Kayla's like perfect.
How you doing, Kayla? Yeah, it was this one, and I feel like when it goes on the skin, it becomes
dries down.
It dries. Oh, you should explain the difference between dries down and
I mean,
oxidization.
It's like the same sort of thing. It's just I feel like a lot of people complain about foundations because they're like, oh, this is oxidizing. But it might not always be just oxidization. Sometimes it will just be drying down. The same way, like, when we do body paint, when we, like, wet the paint and then we put it on, it's like a shade just a little bit lighter than what it is when it dries down. That is the same thing with foundation. It will dry down, like every foundation will dry down just a little bit darker than it's supposed to be. That's why when we bought your foundation, it seemed so light originally when we applied it. And then it dried down, and it was like, oh, okay, no, it's your shade. Yeah, it's actually fine. Oxidization, I feel, is like a step further than that. It's like when it really becomes orange. Like it doesn't drop one shade. It drops like 2 shades, and it becomes orange. And that's because it's reacting to your skin. But that doesn't happen as often as people say it does. Like, people tend to just be like, oh, it's oxidizing. And you're like, no, it's just. Like, half the time it's just drying down.
It's just dry. Calm down.
So, like, when I match people, there was a girl in makeup school that would do that, and I thought, oh, that's really smart. She'd be like, I just always pick a shade lighter. But when I see it on my hand, I'll be like, that's the shade lighter. When it dries down, it'll be the right shade. But foundation matching, I think that's like the one thing that would be too difficult to do a masterclass on, because it is like so personal. Depending on each person, and I think it's just like training your eye to see it. Oh, what? Not actual green? Oh no, no, I meant like olive tone tends to have a bit of green. Like on my pictures, every single time I retouch them, I need to add a bit more blue and a bit more red in the curves adjustment layers because it is very yellow and very green, and I just look sick. Because I have like Mediterranean skin, but I'm pale. So Mediterranean skin is olive, but if you take that and take it really pale, you just look sick. So in my pictures, every single time I have to correct that. Okay, I'm gonna open just a little bit and do the corners. I think my hand slipped on that one. Close? Yeah, my hand slipped just a tiny bit. more on this side. Okay. Close. Okay, and then I'm just gonna correct what I need to correct with Q-tip. Instagram. Sorry.
It's going well, thank you, Kaylo. How are you? We've had a lot of people who seem to be quite interested in having a professional. I should probably zoom this out now. Having a professional doing the makeup instead of seeing more of the self-taught makeup junkies on the internet, because most of us are self-taught makeup junkies.
Yeah.
I think people have been enjoying seeing it more from a professional standpoint. I mean, is that what you guys have been enjoying? Obviously, you guys tell us, but you love the cut crease. I'm prepping to make a golden goddess look, and it will be, oh my goodness.
Actually,
yes.
that would
be
suit
lovely.
That,
yeah, that would be so lovely.
That would look really cool. So, I'm just making sure that I haven't overlined anything, and then, so this is what people tend to do as well, just taking the concealer brush, if I can find it, yeah. I'm not adding any concealer to it. Yeah, I'm not adding any concealer to it. I would if I had really like overlined the lips, but since it's not the case, I just want to clean up. Just make sure that the skin around the lips is very like skin tone and not like pinkish. And there we go. That would be